This story is all about a little minnow and his friend. I've got Layla's eyes on me. I've got Isanis' eyes on me. Hey, Ralph, are you ready? Jaden's eyes are on me. Look at Jaden ready to listen to me. This story is called Fish is Fish by Leo Leone. Leo Leone is both the author. What does the author do? Write the words. And he's also the illustrator. What does the illustrator do? Makes the pictures. Right. He's both the author and the illustrator. Ralph, Raimi, put your clothing down, please. All right. Fish is fish. Let's see what happens to this tiny little fish. At the edge of the woods, there was a pool, a pond, and there was a minnow and a tadpole, and they swam among the weeds. This is a minnow. A minnow is a tiny, tiny fish, and a tadpole is a baby frog that hasn't grown its legs yet. Tadpoles, what do they look like?
They look like characters.
Like a what? Kind of like a character? What else does he look like? Doesn't he kind of look like a fish?
No.
I think he kind of looks like a fish. He's got a tail and no legs. They were inseparable friends. Remember, we have a quiet voice? I see. We've got a quiet voice so we can hear the words. Quiet voice so we can hear the words. They were inseparable friends, which means they were best friends and they were never apart from one another. I like how Rebecca has her eyes on me. One morning, the tadpole discovered that during the night, he had grown 2 little legs. Do you see his tiny little legs that he grew? He's turning into a frog. They're tiny. They're kind of hard to see. Nice listening, Kelley. Look, he said triumphantly. Look, I am a frog. Is he a frog yet?
No.
I don't think the tadpole has quite grown into a frog just yet. You see? I don't think just yet. Nonsense, said the minnow. How could you be a frog if only last night you were a little fish like me? Because last night he didn't have legs, right? But then when they woke up this morning, he had 2 tiny little legs.
Like a frog.
Just like me. They argued and argued or got into a fight until finally the tadpole said, frogs are frogs and fish is fish, and that is that. They can't change who they are. They can't be different. In the weeks that followed, the tadpole grew tiny front legs, and his tail got smaller and smaller. What is he turning into?
A frog.
He's turning into a frog.
Because the other fish is mad.
And the minnow is mad. His friend is changing. He's not a fish anymore, right?
No.
His tail got smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Now he looks more like a frog.
Yeah. Hey, he's a frog and fish.
Then, I know, is he a frog or a fish? He's changing, right?
Yeah, he's a frog and fish.
Right.
He's a frog.
Then one fine day, a real frog now, he climbed out of the water and onto the grassy bank. Is he a tadpole anymore?
No.
What is he?
A frog.
He's a frog now. He's completely changed from a tadpole at the beginning. Let's show you what he looked like before he began to change. This tadpole, you see him with no legs and a tail? And now what is he?
A
A
frog.
frog. He's completely changed. Can a fish climb out of the water like that?
No.
How can he climb out? What does he have?
Legs.
Legs. Legs help him climb out. The minnow, too, had grown and had become a full-fledged fish, a full-size fish now. He grew bigger and bigger. He's not a tiny little fish anymore. He often wondered where his 4-footed friend had gone. But weeks and days went by, and the frog did not return. How do you think the minnow feels? Raise a quiet hand if you can tell me how he feels. Damien, how do you think the minnow feels that his friend is not there? Sad? Raise a quiet hand if you have another idea. Janaya, how else might he be feeling? I hear you. I see your hand. There's a lot of friends that want to answer. How do you think he's feeling that his frog friend is no longer with him? Sad.
Sad.
Can we think of a different emotion? Rebecca.
Surprise.
Surprised that his friend is no longer there? Maybe. He might be surprised, Davier. Frustrated he can't find his friend. Janaya, can I have that, please? And you can have a seat. And Adeline. Please have a seat, dear. Thank you. Worried. Do you want to go have a seat with another teacher maybe? That might help you focus. Worried because he doesn't know where his friend might be. Then one day, with a happy splash that shook the weeds, the frog jumped back into the pond. He returned. "Where have you been?" asked the fish excitedly. "I have been about the world, hopping here and there." "He's seen new things," said the frog. "And I have seen extraordinary or amazing things." He saw new things aside from the life in the pond. How is he now? He's happy because the frog came back, right? And he's happy to see his friend that he missed.
The book is dropping.
The book is ripping.
Whoa!
What? Asked the fish. "Birds," said the frog mysteriously. "Birds!" And he told the fish about the birds who had wings and 2 legs and many, many colors.
Whoa,
Do these look like birds, though?
yeah.
They kind of look like what other animal?
Fish.
Fish. Because the fish has never seen a bird, this is what he imagines them
And
looking
there's a
like.
tail on them.
They have a tail, too. So this is how the fish imagines what a bird looks like. As the frog talked, his friend saw the birds fly through his mind like a large feathered fish. He's using his imagination, right? "What else?" asked the fish impatiently. The fish wants to learn from his friend that traveled the world. Julie and Ralph, are you guys focusing there? Focused? "Cows," said the frog. "Cows! They have 4 legs, horns, and eat grass and carry pink bags of milk. Does this look like a cow?"
No.
It's like a fish cow, right?
Look, because it has a tail.
Because it has a tail, and I still see some fins. It looks a little silly, right?
Yeah.
A little silly.
And it looks like a goat.
It kind of looks like a goat. Kind of looks like a goat with the horns. So remember that the minnow, the fish, boys and girls, we need to have a quiet voice to hear the story.
Been sitting there for a while. It's okay.
I can't
Just
hear
go
the
down.
voice.
The minnow thinks
What's
that
happening now?
this is what a cow looks like because he's only seen fish his whole life. So he imagines them looking kind of like a fish.
Shake the body right.
Yeah, cows give milk,
Why is
right?
it hard?
And people,
What's wrong?
said the frog. Men, women, children. And he talked.
That's so
And
funny.
I know, he looks so silly, doesn't he? And talked until it was dark in the pond. But the picture in the fish's mind, let's listen. The picture in the fish's mind was full of lights and colors and marvelous things, and he couldn't sleep. He's so excited to hear about all of these new discoveries. If only he could jump about like his friend and see that wonderful world. He's wishing that he has legs that could hop out of the water, just like the frog. Can fish get out of the water? He's now looking. He's
That's
imagining
so
being
funny.
with all of these different animals and
That's
creatures.
so funny.
The cow. He's imagining riding the cow, it looks like. The birds and the people. This is what's going on in his imagination. He wishes he could be with all of these pictures. And so the days went by. The frog had gone and the fish just lay there, dreaming about birds in flight, grazing cows. Grazing means to eat, remember? And those strange animals all dressed up that his friend called people. One day, he finally decided that, come what it may, he too must see them. And so, with a mighty whack of the tail, he jumped clear out of the water and on to the bank. He jumped right out of the water? That's a problem, right? Can someone raise a quiet hand and tell me why it's a problem that the fish is out of the water? Maisha, why is this a problem? It's Maisha's turn to answer.
The fish get out the water because he wanted to get out the water.
He wanted to get out of the water, but can a fish live outside of the water? Thumbs up if a fish can live out of the water. Thumbs down if it cannot live out of the water.
Yeah.
Right, Ralph is putting his thumb down. Ralph, why can a fish not live out of water?
Because he left the water, he died.
He would die, right? He can't breathe without water.
Just like our fish.
Our fish died too, right? But our fish didn't escape the water, luckily. He landed in the dry, warm grass, and he lay there gasping for air. Can you guys gasp? He's trying to catch his breath. He can't breathe. He's out of the water. Unable, he needs to get back in the water. Unable to breathe or to move. Help! He He groaned. He's so weak because he's not able to breathe. He's saying, help! How is he going to get back in the water with no legs?
If somebody push him in the water.
He's going to need somebody to push him in the water. Any other ideas of how he's going to get back in the water? Kehlani.
I want to take me down and push him.
You would want to help him? Kehlani, how could he get back in the water?
I get back in the water.
A friend needs to help him get back in the water.
Can
Because otherwise, he might die, right?
I get
Look. Luckily, the frog, who had been hunting butterflies nearby, saw him, and with all of his strength, pushed him back into the pond. You were right, he needed somebody to push him back, and a friend came along and helped him. The frog is being such a kind friend by helping him enter the water. But we are all kind friends, right? He's helping him accomplish something that he couldn't do by himself, right? He needed some help. He's holding him and helping him back into the water. Correct. Look at this. He's so surprised. Still stunned. Stunned is a word for surprised or shocked. Can you do a surprise face? He's stunned. The fish floated about for an instant. He's trying to figure out what just happened. Then he breathed deeply, letting the clean, cool water run through his gills. His gills are how he breathes. Gills are like his nose. That's how he gets water and air.
Where's his nose? Where's his nose?
Where's his nose? We'll have to look at a fish and see if we can find its nose sometime. Now he feels weightless again, and with an ever so slight motion of the tail, he can move to and fro and up and down as before. We have a quiet voice and hold that idea to your head. Can you guys hold those ideas in your head until the very end of the story? I know you're so excited to share. He could move just like he was before. He's happy to be himself now, to be a fish inside the water. That's where he's most comfortable. The sun reached down within the weeds and gently shifted patches of luminous or bright color. The world was surely the most beautiful of worlds. This world inside the pond was the best world to him. He's green now. Can you hold the idea in your head? He smiled at his friend the frog, who sat watching him from a lily leaf. You were right, he said. Fish is fish. Right. I've got a couple of questions. Can you silently put your thinking cap on? Can you please have a seat on your bottom? I'm going to call on friends that are sitting crisscross on their space. On your bottom so everybody can see. Okay. I have a question. What does the frog do that helps the fish in this story? What does the frog do? Ralph, you're raising a really nice quiet hand. Ralph is going to be the speaker right now. Ralph is going to answer the question. Ralph, what does the frog do that helps the fish in this story? What does he do?
He pushed him back in the pond.
He pushed him back into the pond. Why did he? It's Ralph's turn. Why did he push him back into the pond?
Because he can breathe.
He couldn't breathe outside of the water. Excellent job, Ralph. Kiss your brain. Can we give Ralph a cowboy cheer? Yeehaw! Nice job, Ralph. All right, I've got another question.
Miss Kelley.
What happened when the fish jumped out of the water? What happened when the fish jumped out? Layla, please scoot back. He couldn't breathe and he said help, right? Could you please?
And a ball pushed him back.
And then he pushed him back. Okay, I've got another question. This is kind of a tricky question. Thinking caps on? Why do you think the fish wanted to exit or leave the water? Why did he want to leave the water? Think about it. Layla, are you thinking about the question? Why did the fish want to leave the water? Rebecca, why did the fish want to leave the water? Quietly, please, Janaya. I can tell you're frustrated.
All the people.
He wanted to see all the people. What else did he want to see, Janaya? What else did he want to see? Layla, that's Janaya's carpet square. Please leave it alone.
I saw all my
Janaya, tell us what else he wanted to see. Rebecca said that he wanted to see people. What else did he want to see? He wanted to see people. What else?
No, Layla, don't you like to see birds and cows?
Birds and cows and people, right? Those are all.
And flowers.
And flowers and wanted to see what
and a butterfly.
Hear Janaya's thoughts? And a butterfly too. Thank you, boys and girls. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yay!
I have a question. Does anyone have a question or something they want to add? My Asia seems to want to add something. I know I saw you raising your hand.
A fish doesn't have a nose.
A fish doesn't have a nose? Do you guys think a fish has a nose?
No.
You don't think so? How does he breathe? 'Cause we breathe through our nose. How does a fish breathe? Any
How
idea?
about this? I don't know.
How does he
Take a
breathe?
deep breath in the mouth.
Well, we take deep breaths through our mouth and nose, but how does a fish breathe? Any ideas? If they don't have a nose. Adam says through his mouth. Maybe we should do some research on that. I'm going to write that question down because I don't even know the answer to that. How does a fish breathe? Let's write that question down.
If they do this,
I'm going to write down, how does a fish
if they do this,
breathe?
You think he does
Okay.
his nose?
What do I need to add if I'm making a question? What mark? Not an exclamation mark, a question mark. Right. Boys and girls, let's do a big old stretch. I think we need to stretch ourselves out from that awesome read aloud. Reach up, reach up, reach up, reach up. We're going to play our stand up, sit down song. Ready? Because I know you guys love that song.
How about jumping jack?
Jumping jack, I don't have that song ready. We're going to, let's find one. Preschool.
Jumping jack. That's the song.
Okay, stand up, sit down. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Gotta use your listening ears for this song. They spaced